Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your lunch and maybe had the chance to attend a lunch and learn. I attended the verbal gymnastics theater, and it's a good thing there was a little break between that and this because I had to compose myself. It was an awesome emotional session. So we are here in the relationship between health and finance track. We've been running this track for about 10 years. And the reason is there is a huge relationship between health and finance, for better or worse. The two are inextricably connected, especially in the United States. And we know it's a big issue because finance has implications on your health if folks don't have enough money and so they're avoiding seeking medical care, or if they get if they are under financial duress, it can affect their health in terms of stress. And we also know that health can affect finance in terms of health being the number one reason for bankruptcy in the United States. And after retirement, the cost of care facilities and such, that can be the number one cost in retirement. We know that people have high deductible health plans, and yet over half of Americans can't afford a $500 emergency. And so finance affects health, health affects finance, and organizations that are often in the middle of this are the government and insurance companies. Now at MadPow, we do a lot of work with insurance companies, and we welcome those opportunities because we feel like insurance companies are in a great position to make an impact at scale, help people understand their plans, select the best plan for them, and hopefully embrace fiduciary responsibility associated with preparing people for the costs that might be coming down the line, and ensure that people are able to get the best care, afford the care, and hopefully not go bankrupt in the process. So I consider myself an insurance nerd. I know way more about insurance than any normal person should. And that's a good thing and a bad thing all at the same time. But, we've explored, social determinants of health through this conference this year and in past years. And we also have explored social determinants of finance, just like, your zip code can affect your health outcomes, your zip code can affect your financial well-being as well, and myriad other social determinants. So we want to take a second in this session today to look at how we can all help people navigate the health system in terms of understanding the finances associated with health, understanding their insurance plans, and making the best decisions. We're also going to take a step back and look at the implications of how health is handled around the world from a government perspective, looking at value-based care, single payer. So we're really going to get into sort of the higher level macro situation as well. But to start out, I'd like to introduce Emily Running. She is our first speaker on this track. And Emily joins us from CVS Aetna and is a senior UX designer with PayFlex. And she's going to walk you through all the things that they're doing at CVS Aetna to improve the design and the experience of their PayFlex application and experience. So without further ado, Emily, you want to come up on stage?
Sure. Thank you, Amy. Let me just pull up. I'm super excited to be here today to speak with you, and I wanted just to start by sharing a little background about me and my role. I'm Emily Running, a senior UX designer at the agency at Aetna, which is also a part of CVS Health. We're Aetna's internal agency and take on projects that support sales and marketing. About 18 months ago, we were engaged to give another CVS Health-owned company, PayFlex, a complete site redesign. Just update it was the impetus for the ask from the PayFlex team, but as you'll soon hear, there was much more we uncovered. Payflex is a benefits administration company who sells products like HSAs, FSAs, commuter benefits. That's the basis for the talk today, but in the context of how financial hacks wellness. What I'm going to walk you through today includes a little bit about the background of the market and the project, then a bit about our problem statement. What problem were we trying to solve? And after that, I'll walk through ways in which Payflex used design to solve the problem statement. And finally, what we learned. So here's some background for you. Any doctor will tell you that stress is bad for your health. If you're struggling with stress and its health effects like hypertension or poor sleep, your doctor might recommend lifestyle changes or prescribe medications or refer you to a specialist. Of course, as your doctor goes on about ways to treat stress, you might be sitting there trying to calculate how much these medications and specialists will cost you under your health plan, or asking yourself whether your health plan is the best choice for you. If your blood pressure is rising, just thinking about it, you're not alone. Navigating healthcare can exacerbate the very problems it's meant to treat. And at the end of the sessions, meditation and yoga retreats in the world won't help if at night you lie awake wondering how you're going to pay for your doctor visits and procedures, or where you'll find the time to figure out your benefits. Understanding exactly what your healthcare plan offers, how it impacts the rest of your financial planning, and how to use it most profitably can go a long way to minimizing healthcare-induced stress. High-deductible employee-sponsored FSAs and HSAs and other benefits, like setting aside tax-free income for deductibles and other health expenses, but understanding exactly how they can work in your life is crucial to making the most out of them. Thoughtful design informed by users can pave clear paths to that kind of understanding. Pretty much nothing combats stress as well as the certainty that you're making the right health and financial decisions for your family. As we all know, our healthcare system has been set up so that most of us get our healthcare through employers. 43% offered HSA or high deductible plans, but most of us still pay a percentage of the monthly costs just to have the right to healthcare. The costs don't stop there. These high deductible healthcare plans leave employees vulnerable to the increasing cost of actually taking care of your health. The system rewards those who do their homework on these plans and penalizes those who don't take the time to research how it works or think they can't afford it. If that's not enough, there are laws in place that actually penalize you if you use it the wrong way. For example, if your partner contributes to an HSA, but you have an FSA, you'll get to tax it. Or if you have an FSA, you lose the money at the end of the year. These laws and rules in place make the entire process incredibly confusing for everyone. Maybe that's why over 75% of employees never take full advantage of these plans. Yet, if you do it right, HSAs, FSAs, HRAs, COBRAs, commuter benefits, the bottom line with saving. Here's a simple calculation. For someone over 50 who has a family and makes $100,000 a year or more, and saves the maximum benefit of $8,100, you'd get a potential tax savings of over $1,700. But that's not where it stops. When you take the money out for healthcare expenses, you're not taxed. You can invest the surplus tax-free, which works like an additional 401k, and the tax benefits you'd get out of investing that money. In addition, you can continue to use the savings into retirement as part of your retirement income or for healthcare-related expenses, all tax-free. It all comes down to feeling financially secure so you can feel financially healthy. So then we have to ask ourselves, why are 75% of those of us who are offered employee-sponsored plans not taking advantage? Confusion, trust, sounds too good to be true. Why does this exist? Why does my employer get anything out of this? This can't possibly. Knowing this background helped it into a solvable problem statement. While we can't fix the mysteries around why our healthcare system is set up to be so complex and confusing, in approaching how a company like Payflex solves for this, we turned what we knew or thought we knew by interviewing its users and potential users into a problem statement, focusing on trust and simplicity. Here's the statement. How do we instill enough trust with users so that they engage with PayFlex? For PayFlex's problem statement, we use design and UX to solve for that. Trust expert, lecturer, and author Rachel Botsman, maybe you've heard her TED Talk, defines trust as a confident relationship to the unknown. It's about making that step into somewhere that you've never been, or by taking a leap of faith so that we can take a risk because we believe it's safe. Focusing on how design could solve for trust was how we went about creating a new experience. Specifically, I'll show you appearance and voice, focused on transparency, education, and empowerment, and made it personal. When we first took on this project and examined who the site was designed for, it was clear they lacked an understanding of who they were talking to. PayFlex had one voice, addressing the user always as you. Over the years, their product lines expanded, and so did the information they needed to offer. After lots of user interviews and research, we created 4 unique personas, or 4 types of users. That experience gave us the basis to break down the unique needs of each of these user types, those being an individual, like you or I, plan sponsors or employers, those looking to offer these products to their employees, brokers who often rep multiple benefits administration companies, and everyone else who might come here like a job seeker or legal. From there, we needed to address what were their specific needs. As you can imagine, advantage of their HSA will be coming with very different needs, educating themselves on products than an employer or broker whose main goal is around what it's like to work with PayFlex. Because these are unique user types, we address the new site flow by asking users to self-identify. As you can see on the top, the old site didn't address clearly where a user should go. But in the lower image in the newly redesigned site, we ask you right away who you are and take you to a unique page and navigation with imagery and tone that is specific to that user. Initially, we thought that we should cookie users and after they identify themselves, keep them from ever seeing the other experience. But through user testing, we learned that brokers and employers actually wanted to know what information we were offering individuals. So they have the ability to select, but can always get back to view the other experience. And this probably goes without saying, but appearance is key to creating trust. There's the aesthetic usability effect, best described as beautiful things are generally perceived to be easier to use and better regarded than uglier ones. We created a complete and modern design system with pattern libraries, relatable imagery, and components that all play into building trust. As videos or static educational information are harder to keep current, they've been replaced with interactive tax calculators, eligibility tools, simple navigation, and comparison charts to give users the ability to interact and educate themselves on how these products could work for them. It's because of these tools that PayFlex now looks transparent in their offerings and works again to build trust. Mission statements, about us pages, staff profiles all work toward giving the user the sense that there are real people behind this company and that you can in fact trust them. Healthcare continues to be an incredibly complex system, but we learned that with education and trust, users are and confident in how they can make their healthcare investment work for their needs. As you saw, design plays a huge part in that. We're just at the beginning of understanding how to best resonate with users. And as with all digital solutions, it's a continued research of users. It's our iterative work that's never done. I wanted to include a couple of thoughts on steps I'd advise PayFlex to take now that they can continue to strive in more ways than what's currently represented on the experience today. Here are some ways that I believe could go a long way towards continuing the goal of trust. Figuring out a way to align the brand with other trustworthy brands. In other words, borrow trust. Since PayFlex isn't a household name and is owned by CVS Health, Maybe that means more visibly aligning itself with CVS Health or other trustworthy financial institutions. Again, asking the users for their feedback will be key to making the right decisions about what brands to best align themselves to. Or feedback in the form of testimonials or reviews. This feature was something we'd initially spec'd out to be included in the site, but there were concerns around who could say what. I would make the idea of featuring what actual customers are saying to be paramount. So many of us have trust issues with corporations, but will listen to unbiased or unfiltered reviews of products by our peers. Many of the interactive tools we tried to build initially were scrapped due to time restraints and budget. I'd love for PayFlex to re-engage with the idea that more interaction the users have with these tools, the more transparent PayFlex appears. Search that rivals Google is the goal, but even a type ahead predictive search would go a long way to match users' goals for educating themselves on the complexities of these products. And lastly, I love the idea of having an ever-present chatbot that works like a friendlier version of search. The chatbot could have a personality and give people more credibility, and that would give PayFlex more credibility, even if it's just a bot casually asking you what you're looking for. That's all I have. Thank you so much for listening, and I'd love to hear any thoughts or comments that you have.
Hey, Emily. That was fantastic. Thank you. You cut out a little bit, but we caught the majority of what you were saying, so it's all good. And if you want to stop sharing your screen, that will probably help with the bandwidth too. So, and any applications you can shut off that suck up your internet, close them while we have Q&A.
Okay, they're all shut off. I don't know what's happening. Okay.
So I have a question for you. You know, in the research you did, what did you find most surprising? And we've done a lot of research into benefit selection and HSAs, and you know, I'm always surprised by the benefit selection process and how people they just don't think about it till the last minute and sort of rush through the decision making, and that's not on them, it's on us, right? We need to do a better job helping people pick the right benefits.
Right.
It's so imperative, and then checking back with them to see if anything's changed, right? So that's been a big epiphany for me. How about you, through research, as you were learning about what people need?
Well, what we notice is that people, once they sign on, they log on, and then they're not coming back. So I think having a site experience where if you come back, there's always more information and it feels new and fresh might make for an experience where people are wanting to interact a bit more and learn about the newest, especially as tax implications change from year to year. I think there would be more incentive to come back and learn more. It could also stem from, their employer sending them. So if their employer isn't part of that conversation and encouraging people to come and learn more, then I think people don't even know to do it. It's like, I think we have a long way to go to educating, and the numbers have been shocking in how few people know how it really works. So there's just a lot more work to do.
So we have a question around how CVS works to partner with underserved communities to build trust. Any thoughts there?
Well, I'm in this role where we're at Aetna and CVS is our parent company, but certainly I think that CVS tries to be, I think, within 5 miles of a lot of the U.S. population. I think that's their goal. And so I know that getting people into the store and being able to talk one-on-one with your pharmacist is really important for CVS as a goal. And I think that as we work closer and we become more and more part of companies that CVS owns, Aetna or PayFlex, it's one voice from one parent, one company.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And you're still cutting a little bit in and out, but again, we're catching the gist of it. We had somebody ask a question about what PayFlex is supposed to do. So PayFlex is an Aetna company, and they basically provide health savings accounts as an option available at many employers. And those health savings accounts can be used toward medical expenses. And so if you get, you can use it for co-pays, you can use it for to buy medications. If anything happens, you need to get an MRI or you end up in the emergency room, you can use the HSA to pay those medical bills. It can be used for mental health services. And so it's very beneficial, especially as many insurance plans involve a high deductible, to have people not be left flat-footed when the bill comes. And somebody pointed out yesterday from an equity perspective, Emily, your screen's frozen there. Oh no. I'll just keep going and hopefully it'll catch up. But from an equity perspective, many people have to make the choice on whether to save into an HSA or save into some other kind of emergency account. They may not have the funds to save to both areas. And so it becomes important to look at, again, the overlap of health and finance, life and health, and helping people to manage their overall picture, and maybe providing more flexible products that sort of enable that. So along those lines, Emily, can you hear me?
Okay, I can.
Your
still can't
screen's
see
frozen. You might want to. There you go. You're back. Okay. Just curious if you all have looked at predictive analytics, and what I mean by that is, so say for example, someone is managing a chronic condition, and we've seen their past year of claims, or we sort of know, what somebody facing that chronic condition may be facing with regard to finances. Are you doing some analytics and then sort of prompting them with information that might say like, hey, your medical costs exceed what you saved in your HSA. You could reduce your taxable income even more by saving more, and then pay medical expenses out of your HSA. Are you sort of letting people know when they could adjust their savings amounts or do a little better? And for people who don't know that HSAs are a savings vehicle, they're actually, you don't have to spend it by the end of the year. You can continue to save it. And it's good from a tax perspective. Right. Are you prompting people in that way, or what are your thoughts there?
My understanding is I don't think that that's happening. I think it's a really amazing idea and should be happening. I think when in your intro you mentioned that people are struggling to put in the minimum amounts, and so I think we really have a long way to go with how those two could work together. Part of it is the education, and then part of it is how can an Aetna or a CVS or a PayFlex be part of education. And I think we're just really at the cusp of trying to get that message out.
Yeah, it's funny. We're always having these conversations about how might we leverage AI in health, and it's like, okay, we've got like some specific examples here about how we can use the data to help educate.
Yeah, yep. I mean, from this conference alone, we should be walking away with some really amazing ways to make some serious change.
Thank you so much, Emily. And I apologize for the technical glitches, but your message was well received. It looks like you made some big improvements for the PayFlex site. And I'm sure it'll impact a lot of people. So kudos on the good work, and we'll see you soon.